Did Rue really reach the end of her story, or did she just learn how to disappear inside her own mind so nobody could see her falling apart anymore? Because the truth is, when you look at the finale of Euphoria Season 3, Episode 8, it doesn't feel like a normal ending. It feels like something unfinished, like a door closing halfway, but the echo is still loud enough to make you question what you just saw. And that is exactly where the confusion begins. Nothing in this ending is simple. Every moment feels like it has two meanings, one on the surface and one hidden underneath the pain. The episode opens with a strange silence that immediately feels wrong. Not peaceful, not calm, just empty. The kind of emptiness that doesn't come from healing, but from exhaustion. It's like everyone has finally stopped fighting, but not because they solved anything. They stopped because they ran out of energy to continue. And that difference is important, because in Euphoria, silence is never safe. Silence usually means something is about to break. Rue is at the center of this feeling, even when she is not speaking. She moves through moments like she is not fully present, like her body is there, but her mind is somewhere else entirely. And the show never clearly tells us if she is recovering or relapsing in a new form. That uncertainty becomes the most important part of her story. Because by episode 8, Rue is no longer just dealing with addiction in a physical sense. She is dealing with something deeper, her own relationship with reality. Every glance she takes, every pause before she speaks, feels loaded with meaning. It's like she is constantly questioning what is real and what is not, but she doesn't have the strength to fully answer it. And this is where the episode starts to shift from a normal character story into something more psychological. We are not just watching events happen to Rue, we are watching her perception of events slowly break apart. At the same time, the world around her continues without stopping. That contrast is unsettling. People around her talk about moving forward, about choices, about consequences, but none of it fully reaches her anymore. It's like she is standing behind glass, watching life continue, but unable to step back into it. And that feeling of separation becomes the emotional foundation of the entire episode. What makes this opening even more powerful is how it plays with memory. Some moments feel too smooth, too quiet, almost like they are being remembered rather than lived. Other moments feel sharp and uncomfortable, like they are happening in real time, but without emotional grounding. This inconsistency is not accidental. It reflects Rue's mental state, fragmented, unstable, and constantly shifting between clarity and confusion. And just when the viewer starts to settle into what they think is happening, the episode introduces subtle cracks, small details that don't fully make sense at first, a reaction that feels slightly delayed, a conversation that doesn't land the way it should, a look that carries more weight than the words being spoken. These are not loud plot twists, they are quiet distortions, and they are there to make one thing clear: reality in this episode is not reliable. As the opening continues, the emotional distance between characters becomes more visible. Even when they are physically close, there is a gap between them that feels impossible to cross. No one is truly hearing each other anymore. They are responding, not connecting, speaking, not understanding. And that lack of real communication builds a heavy emotional pressure underneath every scene. This is also where the audience starts to feel something very important. The story is no longer about fixing problems. It is about surviving them. Not solving trauma, but carrying it. Not healing relationships, but learning how to exist with the damage they've already caused. Rue's presence in these opening moments feels almost symbolic. She represents more than just one person struggling. She represents what happens when emotions become too heavy to process in real time. When everything you avoid eventually becomes the only thing you can think about. When your mind starts rewriting reality just to protect you from fully facing it. And that is the real tension building inside episode 8's opening. It's not about what will happen next in a physical sense. It's about whether what we are seeing can even be trusted. Because once the foundation of reality starts to crack, everything built on top of it becomes uncertain too. By the end of this opening section, one thing becomes clear without being directly stated. This is not just a finale designed to wrap things up neatly. It is a psychological descent disguised as closure. And whatever answers we think we are going to get may not come in the form we expect at all. The emotional weight going into episode 8 doesn't come out of nowhere. It is built slowly through everything that season 3 has already broken apart. By this point, nothing in the world of Euphoria feels stable anymore. Relationships are not just damaged, they are uncertain. Identity is not just confused, it is shifting from moment to moment. Momotsi? Every character is carrying something they cannot fully explain, and that pressure is what shapes the entire direction of the finale. Rue's journey leading into this episode is not a straight path anymore. It is scattered, full of stops and restarts, moments of clarity followed by deep emotional collapse. What makes her story so important at this stage is that she is no longer only fighting addiction in a visible way. The struggle has moved inside her thoughts. Even when she appears calm, there is a sense that something underneath is still active, still unstable, still pulling her away from any real sense of control. The season has repeatedly shown that recovery is not a single decision for her. It is a constant battle between wanting to escape and wanting to exist. Jules, on the other hand, enters episode 8 carrying emotional distance that has been growing for a long time. Her connection with Rue is no longer something that can be defined easily. It is not fully love in the way it once was, and it is not fully separation either. It exists in a complicated space where care and hurt overlap. Jules has been trying to understand herself outside of Rue's emotional chaos, but that process has not been clean. She is learning that stepping away from someone you love does not automatically bring peace. Sometimes it only brings more questions. Nate's storyline leading into the finale is shaped by control, but also by something more fragile underneath it. On the surface, he continues to present himself as someone who understands power, manipulation, and dominance. But Season 3 has been slowly exposing that this control is not as solid as it looks. It feels more like a mask than a truth. The pressure around him, especially from past actions and hidden guilt, creates a constant tension. Even when he appears composed, there is a sense that he is one mistake away from losing the structure he has built around himself. His arc is not just about power over others, it is about whether he still has power over his own mind. Lexi's presence in this buildup is quieter, but deeply important. She has always observed more than she has participated, but Season 3 pushes her closer to understanding that observation is not the same as safety. Watching people fall apart does not protect her from being affected by it. Her perspective becomes more emotionally heavy as she starts to realize that understanding someone's pain does not always mean you can fix it. Sometimes it only makes you more aware of how broken everything around you is. The environment of the season also plays a major role in shaping episode 8. Everything feels emotionally heavier, but also more disconnected. Conversations happen, but they often feel incomplete. Decisions are made, but they don't feel fully resolved. Even moments of connection feel temporary, like they are waiting to be undone. This creates a world where closure seems impossible, not because nothing is ending, but because nothing is truly being addressed at its core. What connects all these storylines is the sense of emotional exhaustion. Every character has reached a point where they are no longer reacting with full energy. Instead, they are responding out of habit, memory, or survival. That is why Season 3 feels different from earlier seasons. It is not driven by chaos alone anymore. It is driven by the aftermath of chaos. The emotional consequences of everything that has already happened are now taking center stage.